All right, guys, welcome to the presentation. My name is Teppo Hudson, and I'm the founder of sprinthack.com. And here I'm going to talk you briefly about how to solve your business mechanism with a full stack service architecture in 12 months or less. Let's start off with a case study. Here you can see what we did with the Panda Training guys. The Panda Training is a small employee coaching company with this kind of HR function they are focusing on. And end of 2019, they approached us to help to figure out their CTO and development teams, and we were happy to go and on and outsource the whole tech thing for them. Now, after about 8 months, they're happy customers. We've gained good objectives. We've been able to improve their coaching capacity per coach by 75% and estimatedly roughly provided them about 200,000 euro enterprise value by just purely focusing on their mechanism process. They didn't have to hire a single developer. They didn't have to do any of that, and they are still fully able to sell their services. So as you can see, what we really do is focus on the non-tech entrepreneurs who really kind of know the opportunity they are looking for, but are struggling to find a CTO, finding the developers. They are frustrated of understanding how the development process should go. Basically, somebody who really have a product, but maybe nobody cares about it. But maybe you are not meeting your business targets. Maybe you feel that a developer will solve your problems. Then keep on and stick around. If you're just looking for developers, we are not really for you. We don't do development ourselves. We focus on the architecture, management of that, and sourcing the development for you if needed. And it will require work from you to work with us, because the key is that we'll be on the same side of the table with you, improving your process, making you understand how the hell this should work. The core concept is that products fail because they are over-engineered. If you keep on improving features and all the nice to have things there, you will fail. If you do poor sensitivity analysis and don't focus on the inputs and data that are needed to get a desired output, and you cannot clearly communicate that to your development and design teams, you will fail. If you focus too much on the roles and too little on the functions, you will fail. If you don't go full on, full stack service architecture, understanding these three key areas, does anyone care? Can we make money with it? And can we actually do it? You will fail. The reality we live in right now is that the price of this kind of senior development or development in general is expanding rapidly. There are more and more demand for digitalization on AI, automation, platforms, so all kind of stuff. And the supply of coding talent is not increasing as fast. I'm gonna bet that in 10 years, we're gonna see about 3 times higher pricing level on development. And you will have to figure that out if you are building your tech development teams. So why should you work with us? Me and my co-founder, Thiago, we have 30 years of combined tech development knowledge. And we've been like CTO in multiple startups. We've been lead architects in telecom sector and senior developers at Amazon. We've worked on these things years, and we know product development inside out. Just last year alone, with last 12 months, we've had about 22 architecture projects running at the same time, and we know how to do this. We also been failing ourselves constantly. We've created products in the last 3 years that are hacked together. We had went really deep into technology, being excited about hacking things, something for the clients that we think is awesome, but it doesn't really always work like that. From all that out, we are now building a process that we know works for product mechanism and development teams. It's all about a process and the simulation of that process. That's the key. And how do you do then that? First, you focus on the market acceptance. Does anyone actually care? That is all about understanding your assumption, creating them and testing them out with MVPs, focusing on one niche, one person, one problem only, doing a clear sensitivity analysis of the use case, action, stories, what data is needed, what data is out there that we can fetch and not need to collect ourselves, etc., etc. It's about mapping a huge amount of data points in the need. It's all about defining those actions that lead from the current state of the customer to the future state of the customer, and all about building objectives and key results to keep your team aligned. You as a product owner are a single most important person on any software project. You have the responsibility to define what the mechanism is. Never leave that to the dev teams, because you are the one understanding the customer inside and what should be in the product mechanism. You should really have this scientific focus of clearing all the uncertainties for your team. Here's an example of a process that we'll be working with you on, like how to clear out the assumptions, do the sensitivity analysis and map out all the data sources. Second step, unit case simulation. It's all about, can we make money with it? You have to understand the process also from your own point of view. What goes into sales, production, upkeep? What is your value proposal and message that you kind of form out of the actions you are doing for your customer? You have to understand the cost required to deliver this value on sales channels or to upkeep it. And you have to simulate all these variables defined to be able to understand the market validation. You should definitely focus to simulate them with spreadsheet and mockups rather than code. You should really simulate the variables, the data, rather than anything else. You should log all the data sources for the simulation and learn the details of all your mechanism needed. Before that, don't try to communicate the stuff for your dev team. Here's another process, how you can map out the simulation for yourself from your own point of view. The third step is mechanism validation. To understand, can we actually do it? It's all about creating a roadmap that is focused enough on understanding the assumption and clearing the uncertainties. It's all about organizing the data variables, data sources, the user experience, the value proposals, the price, all into a clear communication for your dev team. Because mechanism is actually just a robotic version of your manual actions fulfilling these variables. So you just focus on the data, you should focus on the data sources, you should start with manual control and then only automate step by step, and really focus on the mechanism and how it affects the output that you are aiming to deliver to the market. As a summary, what you'll be building up is this kind of so-called development funnel with all these steps, and it will really focus you on keeping the data, the understanding, and the whole architecture in place on what you are building, so that you actually are building something that matters. Option one is that you can manage this yourself. It will probably, though, take long time to gain the full stack knowledge. You could probably struggle if you're building this development funnel all on your own. And if you've never done it before, it will be extremely challenging to do the sensitivity analysis on yourself, because you run a high risk of losing like roughly 90% of your customer insight in your product. The skills are pretty specific, and it requires quite a long time to either train yourself, train your staff members, or hire these kind of full stack architects who understand this whole concept from business, tech, and design point of view. If you do it yourself, this is what you probably end up with. I've seen this happening so many times, and it always ends up with the product owner who's communicating with designer, who's communicating with developer, and then back, where they focus more on the roles rather than the communication of the information between these functions. And the output is that you have a product that nobody really cares. Or you can work with us. We'll be with you. We'll be figuring all this process for you and with you on the same side of the table. I'm very serious about this. We know how it works. We've seen it working before, and I'm happy to show all this and the details how to do it on a demo call. So please go ahead, book a call, and I'll see you on the demo. Cheers, guys.